Hello YouTubers, nice to see you again. I hope you are all right. I'm fine. After a long week filled with work, it's time for another weekend. It's Friday night now when I'm recording this, September 29th, and tomorrow it's time for another record fair in Solna, where I hope to go and waste some money, waste some time, and enjoy myself very much doing so, among loads of other middle-aged men of both genders and in all ages. So, but what am I going to talk about here? Because I can't see into the future, what the future will bring. No, but I'm going to talk about some records that I got a week ago, that I've been listening to both while doing paperwork at home and while just taking it easy at home after the long days at work. I was at one of my favorite stores. It's in Bromma. It's called Bromma Records. Very nice place, lots of great records there, and also a very friendly atmosphere that makes you really want to get back often as possible. I'm very fond of their soul section. I mean, it's not a big store, but lots of good quality records. This time I mostly went through the soul records, and also I checked through the Brazilian section, because this guy who owns the store, has got quite a lot of nice Brazilian records. So, I thought I'm going to look through this pile, the pile that I've been listening at this week, and I have to say, almost all of the records were very good, real good findings, and the contents superb. I'm going to start with one of the records that I was more curious on it, because I thought this would be a bit odd. I have to say that the actual content is so. I mean, it's not a masterpiece. It was okay, but I may have expected a bit more. And it's Rod Hunter's Soul Makasa on Decca. It's German pressing. Soul Makasa, the title track, really great. Some of the other tracks like Apache, Popcorn, Telstar, maybe a bit cheesy, but the king of Moog, what can you do with the Moog in the 70s unless you're a real French genius, so to speak. But it was nice anyway. Also, I got a quite nice easy listening album by Mongo Santamaria, the Cuban bongo player and orchestra leader. It's called El Pussycat. This is a reissue, a German reissue. I think that the original issue didn't. I think that had a picture of Mongo Santamaria's face, and this does not look like the face of Mongo Santamaria, so to speak. Very nice though. I told you I had a look at the Brazilian section. I got two Brazilian records. One of them is this record by Clara Noona from 1972 on the Odeon label, Clara Clarice Clara. I think this is a reissue from maybe a couple of years later, according to the label most of all. But Clara Noona is such a nice singer. Very happy I found it. I've heard some of her other records too, and my Brazilian collection is growing steadily, and I'm very happy because I have had a big affection for Brazilian music, samba, bossa nova and stuff like that, since I first heard it maybe in the late 80s, early 90s. An early CD that I bought was a cheapo CD called Brazil Stars, with lots of really good tracks, and I've learned the first Brazilian artist from that actual CD. Yes, well, I also found Gal Canta Caimi, Gal Costa, of course, singing songs by Dorival Caymmi, which I guess is this gentleman on the back sleeve. Not sure, but that would make sense, would it not? It's from 1976, and Gal Costa is always superb. I've never heard anything bad from her my whole life. Such a sensual and great singer with this nice feeling, and also, I don't know, that's filled with joy, and also she was a bit of a daredevil back in the 70s. In many ways. Okay, that was the Brazilian bit. Now over to the main part of this pile. It's the soul records, and let's start at Stax in 1971. It's a bit difficult to read on the sleeve, but it's Carla Thomas with Love Means. I didn't have any records by Carla Thomas before, even though I was well aware of her as a singer and artist. I've heard many tracks of her, and I've seen her many clips of her on YouTube and so on. So it was a nice surprise to find this record. And we have got the usual Stax musicians on the record, like Donald Duck Dunn, Al Jackson Jr., Michael Toles, and so on. So great accompaniment, and a great singer, great voice, and a lovely mixture of songs, starting with the Jimmy Webb song, Didn't We? Yeah. Okay, over to a singer that I had never seen before or heard of before, so I was a bit curious. I bought it, and it seems she's a bit of a forgotten hero, and even when you search her name on internet, you don't really get much wiser. I'm talking about Tina Britt, and the only album she ever recorded. She made some singles too, but this was her sole album, Blue All the Way, and it's on the Minute Records label. I was not aware of that label either, but it looked at it as if it had something to do with Liberty, and when I checked it out, I was right. Anyway, nice mix of songs, both famous and some who aren't as famous, but I mean, Godless Child, a version of that, Born of the Bayou by John Fogerty, Key to the Highway. Great album, great singer, and it's a pity that she's not more known, because it's a really great album and great voice. So glad I found it. Another bit obscure singer is Becky Crutcher, even though I think she had more success and made a number of albums back then, but today she's a bit of a forgotten star. This is her album Long As You Love Me, and it's on the Enterprise label. That was like a subsidiary of Stax, and it's recorded in the Muscle Shoals studio, and with the Memphis musicians and so on. Great songs, and of course we know now this is 1974. Stax isn't really what it has been in the past, but it's still they still can manage to release some really decent records, and this is very nice. It's not fantastic, but it's very nice, I think. Over to another singer that I think is fairly obscure, Estelle Peebles. I didn't know that much about her. The handwriting on the wall. Unlike the others, this is not in the best condition, maybe BG++, so still both listenable and enjoyable. It's produced by Willie Mitchell and engineered by Willie Mitchell. It is obviously connected to Memphis, but it is a French pressing on the French label Cream. It's I don't know if it's a reissue or just a French issue from the same year. Unless I'm mistaken, I think the original was out on the High label. This is soft soul from, well, the latter part of the 70s, with some finer disco elements. Great singer though. I have to check for more of her albums because it was a nice experience. I have never heard of her before, and I was not aware of this artist until now. Okay, over to a record that I've been looking for quite some time, and now finally I got hold of a copy in a very good condition. Also, yeah, well, okay, I'm going to show you first. It's the Jackson 5. The original, the first album, Diana Ross presents the Jackson 5, featuring my favorite song with that's I Want You Back. I think that they never got better after I Want You Back. That's a fantastic song. I'm always been very fond of that, but I never had it on record until now. This is a British pressing, because I don't know why, but I have some sort of special affection for the British pressings of Tamla Motown. Don't ask me why. There's no reason in this, but first of all, maybe I like the lamination and the flip back sleeves and so on. I was very happy that I found it. It's in great condition, almost unplayed. So also it was one of those records that I had to pay a bit extra for, but I think it was worth it. The only thing I don't like is, why is it called Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5? What does Diana Ross has to do with this? The horrible... No, I'm not going to talk more about her. Alright, I think I've been talking now for 50 billion years, so I'm going to finish now, and I'm going to show you the last record in this pile. It's Tom Scott and the LA Express, the great funk, jazz, rock, and so on. Saxophone player and his band. This is a record on the old label, when it was, yeah, and not sure when it's from, but 70s sometime, forgot. Very good instrumental jazz, jazzy funk pop, very musically played, and well, quite a nice sleeve too. The belt buckle here is like, I don't know if you can see, it's like embossed, you know, nice detail. And yeah, that's about it for this time, and tomorrow, hopefully, if everything goes well, I'll be going to Solna to look at lots of other record collectors, looking at records, because that's how it is. It takes some time until you actually get to the records there. And well, I'm not really sure what I'll be looking for, but hopefully I'll find something fun. And if I don't, I will probably not make a video about it later. Okay, so that's it for now, and bye bye, and thank you for watching. Among lots of other people. Fuck. Well, we got the usual Stax people. I'm not a fan. I think she's very nice instrumental punk. No, punk. What am I saying? Punk.